culture, in making movies, had the horrible job of trying to make these Irish movies work. It's frozen on 4:59 now for me.
It can't cope with you, John.
Time has stood still. It's going again. But, you know, I had the job of making movies work in the US. And so, you know, the studio would always say, you know, in Tootsie where they say it's on the coast and your man Hoffman says there's 2 coasts. Well, there's about 4 coasts in America. There's one with Mexico, one with the Pacific, the Atlantic, and Canada. And all those cities you can put an independent movie into. But it's very hard to put an independent movie into the middle of America. And so they'd always say, you know, we're going to come out in the cities. And I'd be like, yeah, but Dallas is a city. But we never came out there. And it got me to thinking about 2 different Americas. Then I realized it was really just a framework of the Democratic and Republican parties. So, you know, then you realize there's probably 2 audiences in America, and maybe there's not, maybe it's 2 different countries in terms of culture, in terms of penetration. And in Ireland, you know, you're coming off a very small base. But I'll give you a secret. Everybody in the world thinks they're American. And we had a civil rights march where we don't have a Bill of Rights. So this civil rights march led to a 30-year war. So people were walking for an impossibility. It's like trying to have a light bulb without an electrical system to walk for civil rights without a Bill of Rights. But people weren't aware of it because they'd seen American television. They'd seen Martin Luther King. They'd seen a spiritual leader. So what's always bugging me is where's the spirituality in what we're doing, even though I'm not very religious. So I'm going to explain how American culture came into my life. And so this is my house. And this is St. Lawrence O'Toole's church, which is just down the road. And my dad gets up on the roof, and he's trying to turn the aerial towards the east. And I'm like, isn't that where the Magi looked, you know, in the Bible? You know, they all looked east. But it turned out England was east. And so he was trying to find England. And I said, but how do you know that's east? He said, doesn't the River Liffey run east? And I go, no, it goes in a circle like that. It starts in Kildare. And he got mad at me, and he's like, turn the fucking thing east. So I'm trying to, in freezing weather, trying to turn her east. And all he's getting is snow, snow, snow. So I'm like, it's okay. So he says, we'll try southeast, Harlech, Wales. There's a signal from there. Anyway, he's trying that for a while. He doesn't get at it. And then my uncle, who worked for Pi, a TV company, came along with what you need, which is a compass, which you now can get in your iPhone. And he found out that due east was the church. And the signal was hitting the church. And it was bouncing up the road and forming up at that house, number 84. But as we were 44, we'd no reception. So what always occurred to me was that within, the Late Late Show started in '62. So I would have been watching Laramie or something. And then the Late Late. And within 20 years of the Late Late, the occupancy of this went from 99% to 9%. That's culture. That's the power of television. It's the power of communication. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. But we seem to have replaced, you know, we just seem to have changed everything into, it's all about entertainment. It's all about, and it's none of it's about belief systems and whatever. So I'm kind of for trying to communicate and trying to form, you know, I run a little Arab film festival here. I make movies as best I can. But I think in the communication system, you need to find the spirit in the room, you know? You need to find some way of giving, other than America, a voice. And I don't mean that in any bad way. I love America. It's my favorite country. But we have to find a way of accepting other voices, hearing them, letting them in the room, and now letting them in the internet.